Youthline Auckland, one of many branches around the country which provides a range of confidential counselling services to youngsters.
Hello, Youthline, Smita speaking.
Helpline counsellor Smita Ramji is on duty to receive calls from clients seeking help. Nearly 2,000 such calls are received by the organisation nationally every month.
That stood up for you while that was happening? The call I just had was from a young girl at school who just had a fight with her friends and was feeling quite anxious about going back to school after the holidays. Take care.
While Smith has been a full-time employee at Youthline for the past 2 years, there are many others who are volunteering their time for the regionally focused and nationally linked organisation.
A lot of people, like especially in society today, sort of like they lack those like little human connections, and a lot of people are just sort of lonely and like they don't know what to do with their lives. And so we're there to sort of help them mirror, help them sort of understand, and just comfort when they need it, and just be a kind ear when no one's there to listen to them. So we don't really do much. They sort of do it themselves, but we're just there to help them out with it.
Youthline began essentially as a telephone counselling service 40 years ago, and now the service has branched out into receiving texts, which has become a major source of contact from clients seeking help.
Young people, obviously, they're really into cell phones and really into texting, and that's the method that they really have taken up to ask for help or to seek support. And we saw a huge rise in our text stats, so we now receive between 15,000 and 18,000 texts a month, so it's huge.
With such a huge demand for their services, there's growing need for more volunteers at Youthline branches around the country.
And yeah, we really do rely on our volunteer team. Without our volunteers, we wouldn't have a helpline, we wouldn't have a youth helpline. And they're a very generous bunch of people that give their time and quite a bit of time to help other young people and to just be there to take those calls.
So what you're saying is that you're having difficulties at the moment? Like basically growing up with my family, we went through quite a bit of difficult things. And it's one of those things that helps you grow as a guy. You grow up and mature pretty quickly, and you have lots of new experiences. And I guess at first I wanted to share that with others and share their experience of how they're going through difficulties, because we're not all the same. We may not all experience it the same, but we can understand and empathize with them. And I guess that's what was in the first place. And then later on, it's just like there's so much more here that we can do and learn. It's just a great thing to just share with others.
Volunteers need to undergo a series of training programs which can take from 6 to 12 months before they are able to take helpline phone calls or texts.
I want to be a counsellor, so I thought that this would be a good first step in actually seeing how it's like. I'm learning a lot of basic experience, like basic skills.
Becoming a helpline counsellor is not the only volunteering job you can do. The funding team at Youthline is always looking for volunteers.
So Youthline receives funding from philanthropic trusts and gaming trusts, but we receive very little funding from government. So it's really important for us to generate our own income, and for that we obviously need volunteers to help us along the way. Things like street appeals and other events that we run all throughout the community. We're always in desperate need of getting volunteers to help along. I don't think it can be underestimated, really. Volunteering is essential. It's the backbone, really, of our New Zealand sort of not-for-profit society. And without volunteers, organisations like Youthline just couldn't run.
Volunteering has its rewards. For Ramon Narayan, who began as a volunteer 10 years ago, it led to a career which he is passionate about.
So after doing the training and getting onto the phones, I really found that it was a real big passion. I started volunteering in youth groups, doing youth mentoring, helping out in heaps of different ways, and I realised that this was something that I really wanted to be a part of my life and a career that I wanted to do. And I started doing a social work degree at Unitec, and about halfway into that course, Youthline offered me some full-time work at that time, and I was like, yeah, this is what I wanted to do, and that was 10 years ago, and been here ever since.
Someone else who started as a volunteer phone counsellor 5 years ago and got a full-time position as a counsellor and mentor for volunteers is Ashwin Mathur.
It's a mentor, so my role is basically being alongside people who are just learning on the phone and getting them to a level where they're confident enough on the, with the phone work to handle things by themselves.
There's so many different ways to be involved, and you know, it's lots of fun as well. It's not just about the sad stories and the hard times that you go through with young people. Sure, that stuff is there, but there's also the really great stories and the leadership that comes from the young people that we work with as well, that really, really keeps me going and keeps my passion going for this work and incorporate into the everyday.
So anyone can volunteer with Youthline. I think we get a lot of people that are really empathetic and want to just help other people. Can really, I think that just that personal touch from talking to another person on the end of the phone can be really useful for a lot of people.
If you want to be a volunteer at Youthline, check out this website.